The Great Emu War. In 1932, the Australian government declared war on emus. Yes, you heard that right. They went to war with birds, specifically 20,000 of them. And they did so with machine guns. By all accounts, this was a resounding victory for the birds. But why? Why did this happen? And how did these flightless birds manage to defeat an entire military? And finally, why does it still matter today? To answer the first question, we have to go back to the year 1932 in Australia. That's when an army of 20,000 emus descended on the town of Campion and began destroying crops. Their numbers were so great that they were doing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage every day. In fact, they caused so much damage that farmers got fed up and asked the government for help. So the government deployed 18 soldiers with 2 machine guns to deal with the situation. They were led by Major Meredith, who had experience dealing with unruly crowds, but not unruly birds. Still, he and his men set up their guns and waited for the emus to come to them. When they did, the soldiers opened fire, killing several of the birds. But this didn't solve anything. You see, emus are big. They stand about 4 feet tall and weigh around 120 pounds. To make matters worse, they also run pretty fast, which meant that the machine guns couldn't keep them away from the crops. And after a while, the emus seemed to realize that they weren't going to be deterred. So they just charged the machine gunners who, to be honest, were pretty scared. After a few hours of this, the soldiers ran out of ammo and the emus continued to attack the crops. So the government sent another unit to help. This one had 3 men and 3 Lewis guns, basically 3 heavier machine guns. Again, the birds charged the soldiers, who opened fire and again drove them away. This happened over and over again for weeks. The emus would charge the crops and the soldiers would drive them away with gunfire. Every time the soldiers thought they'd scared the emus away for good, another flock would arrive to take their place. And then something weird happened. The emus started stealing the soldiers' guns. Yes, that's right. Emus actually stole the soldiers' guns and ammunition and used them against the soldiers. Now, historians debate whether or not this actually happened. But if it did, it probably happened like this. Sometimes when the emus charged the soldiers would drop their guns to make room for more ammunition. The emus would then pick up the guns in their beaks and steal them. We do unknow if they used those guns against the soldiers or if they just ran off with them. But either way, it was pretty humiliating for the soldiers. Eventually, the whole thing just sort of fizzled out. The emu army eventually moved on and the crops were saved. Nobody knows exactly what caused them to leave. But some think that maybe they were just hungry, and there wasn't enough food in the area to sustain 20,000 birds. So why does any of this matter today? Well, because ever since this war, emus have been portrayed as these vicious, violent animals that will stop at nothing to destroy human property. Of course, that's not really true. Emu is just a flightless bird that needed to eat. But this myth has persisted anyway, and emus have become a bit of a meme in internet culture. There are even still people today who say that emus are descended from dinosaurs, and that they evolved to be flightless specifically to wage war on humans. Needless to say, that's not true either. Now, if you want to learn more about this war, I've linked a video about it in the description below. The moral of the story is probably don't go to war with birds unless you have a very, very good reason. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really helps us grow. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching.